sales is such an important role,
Yeah.
especially in like a startup company.
Yeah, right.
You're not selling, you're kind of screwed.
Everyone's in sales, so just embrace it. And I just think I realized, like, if I genuinely want to help someone, if I believe what I'm doing is helping them, then yes, I'm selling them, but really I'm just consulting with them and I'm providing a solution to, a pain and a problem that they have. So when you think about sales that way, I think sales becomes much more enjoyable and much more fulfilling.
I mean, if you're doing it because you want to learn, it gets really easy
Mm-hmm.
to start doing it because you're really interested and it's motivating, it's fulfilling.
I think that's how entrepreneurs are wired. It's just like, I have this problem, how can I fix it? And just go try to make it work.
Are they privately owned companies or do they belong to the city?
A lot of them belong to the city. So we're going after publicly owned power companies. Cities that own their own power distribution. So like Provo, like they have a power department, they own their power, they distribute the power to the residents.
Hello, welcome everyone. This is the Founder Scoop. My name is Jacob Lee, and today I have with me Justin Johnson. Thank you, dude, for coming.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is cool.
So Justin, give me just a brief overview. What is your business? It's called Outify, right?
Yeah. The business is Outify, and we're a software platform, and we help small cities communicate with their residents.
Okay.
So most of it's through texting. So think, power outages, snow removal, water leaks, anything that's critical in the city like that. The cities use the platform to text the residents, or residents can text in and let the city know, hey, something's happening on my road or on my street, and then the city's able to gather the information and figure out what's going on and find the location faster and then solve the problem faster.
That's cool.
Yep.
Does it have anything to do with like Amber Alerts?
Similar. So Amber Alerts is like more built for, it seems like, really big emergencies, like someone was kidnapped. It's usually what I get Amber Alerts about. I don't know if I've gotten any Amber Alerts.
I've seen like stolen vehicles.
Yeah, something like that. So Amber Alert is like more for like massive like things like that. There is a system.
It's more like a nationwide thing, you'd say, or is
I
it
don't
still?
know. I think it's still more like regionally based, but it's just like the way Amber Alerts works. I'm pretty sure this is how it works. Like anyone who has a cell phone in an area will get the notification, regardless if you opt in or anything like that, because it's such a big. It's like really important that like they let people know what's happening. This is more like daily city incidents. So like I don't see a city using this for a big Amber Alert, but more so like, hey, the power's out on your street. It's going to be back on in 2 hours. Stay posted for updates, something like that. Or, one of the use cases from one of our cities, it's actually Morgan, and they get a lot of snow up in Morgan. And they have this ordinance in the winter where people in the city aren't allowed to park on the streets in the winter just because the plows are constantly going. And so the guy that plows the snow in Morgan, he uses the app to just select that street if he sees cars on the road and send a text and say, hey, I'm going to be plowing the roads in an hour.
Oh, cool.
Can you move your car?
Oh, that's
so that
really
you can
cool.
plow. So
yeah.
More things like that, just like daily city incidents is what it really shines for. So
okay, I have a bunch more questions, but
yeah,
before we dive into about your company, I want to learn more about like you and your story.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, have you always been an entrepreneur? Did you grow up in an
No.
entrepreneurial family?
No, my uncles were entrepreneurs, and my dad worked for my uncles, and my dad is such a great guy. But I just remember growing up, like, my uncles had a company, and my dad worked for them, so I always kind of thought it was his company too. And then the older I got, I realized, okay, yeah, my dad's, this is not his company. Like, he works for his brothers.
Just a hired gun.
Yeah. And, I don't think I was an entrepreneur when I was little. I don't even think I was an entrepreneur through high school. I think when I came back from my mission and I changed a lot of my mission, I learned a lot of things, and I just realized that I wanted to do my own thing. And after my mission, I did sales. I've had multiple sales jobs, and I've done pretty good at it. And I was just like, I'm sick of selling these things, and I'm making these businesses all this money, and I'm getting like this small cut. And like, I've always, wanted to be able to like, since doing sales, like I've wanted to control like how I handle my customer service and like, how I take care of my clients. And I just felt that if I can do sales and if I can control the outcome, then that was really appealing to me. And so that's where that kind of started, I think, was just doing different sales jobs.
I like that. That's really interesting, honestly. Like,
yeah.
Sales is such an important role, especially in like a startup company.
Yeah, right.
You're not selling, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. There's this really good book called To Sell is Human, and it's like really eye-opening because it's like, in fact, all of us are in, you've read it. Like all of us are in sales. Like whether you actually have a sales job or if you're just like a doctor, a doctor is selling a patient on why they should take this medication or why they should follow this treatment program. Like,
I love that book because
yeah.
like I'm a student right now at BYU,
Uh-huh.
and I've noticed that like professors are really bad salesmen. They suck
Probably
at selling
they
their
just don't like
content.
them, yeah.
Like a lot of times it's really boring, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't teach you. I think if they incorporated the sales process and like the first day of class, like this is why you should pay attention.
Yeah.
It would be a much more enjoyable
Yeah,
experience
I agree.
for everyone.
I totally agree with that. When I came home from my mission, I did summer sales for summer, and I learned a lot about just like selling in general. And I was like, man, if I would have had some of these skills when I was on my mission, like I would have been like the best missionary ever on the doors. Like if I would have had some of these sales skills that I learned just doing door to door. But yeah, I mean, everyone's in sales, so just embrace it. And I just think I realized like if I genuinely want to help someone, and if I believe what I'm doing is helping them, then yes, I'm selling them, but really I'm just consulting with them and I'm providing a solution to, a pain and a problem that they have. So when you think about sales that way, I think sales becomes much more enjoyable and much more fulfilling.
Yeah, I think if you take a look where it's more just like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have a negative stereotype of sales.
Yeah, they totally do.
And it's really not. I mean, okay. There are people that take it to the extremes,
Yeah.
and that's the image that most people have.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just think about sales as just like persuasion,
Yeah.
and it's not even like persuasion against people. Like, let's see, how do I want to say this? You're not persuading someone to take something that is going to be worse for them.
Yeah, exactly right.
You're only selling them things
Mm-hmm.
that provide value.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing it
100%.
like that, it's, I don't know. It
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think persuasion's a big part of it, but like you said, you're not trying to convince. Sales isn't convincing people. It's not trying to get people to do things that they don't want to do. It's like helping them understand that, you do have a problem, like how's this problem impacting you, and then how can I give you a solution that's going to make the problem better. So, yeah, in fact, when I was doing door-to-door sales, I remember there was this one door I knocked on, and I mean, this house, they clearly needed pest control. Like they had bees like all over the place. Like I remember seeing like spider webs. Like if there was a home that needed pest control, like they really needed it. And I remember the lady answered, and she like had just told me that something really tragic had just happened. I can't remember what, but like something tragic had just happened with her husband, and she had found out like a week before she had cancer. Oh, her husband lost his job. So like, and she had just found out she had cancer.
Holy cow.
So it was like financially they weren't in a good spot. And I remember like just pushing. Like all I cared about was selling her pest control. And like, after that she ended up buying. And I remember like it was a couple doors later, I sat down on the sidewalk and I was like, holy cow, like what did I just do? Like I didn't even care that this lady told me that she had cancer. I didn't even care that her husband lost her job. Like I was just concerned about her buying pest control. So I think that experience, like after that, I was like, okay, like we've talked about, that's not what sales is. It's not convincing people. It's getting to know people and understanding, who they are and, providing a solution that helps them. So that experience kind of molded the way I think about sales and how I'm not perfect at it, but how I try to approach selling people and talking to people. So.
Well, that story has me excited to hear more about like your business and like what you're actually selling.
Yeah.
So let's talk about more of your business now.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you start out? Like, where did you get this idea from?
Well, so after this whole thing, like I had a sales job. I sold payroll software, so I did software sales. And I just was like, I want to have a business. Like, I want to do something. Like, what's the easiest way to start a business in Utah County? It's detailing, car detailing.
True.
It's like,
yeah.
It's like the gateway drug for entrepreneurship. I feel like if you have a detailing business, like it seems like anyone does. So I had a detailing business, and we worked long hours, and like it was just like grueling because I had my job all day, and then I worked at night, and then on the weekends, like all day Saturday, I was detailing. In the summer, it was just a lot of work, and for like, quite frankly, like for the amount of money we were making, it was just like I'm putting in a lot of hours for like, to do a really good job with someone's car. A detail takes time. It doesn't take 30 minutes. It takes a simple car can take like 2 hours if you want to do a good job. So anyways, we did that and we made some money, but like not a lot. And I was like, this is just not, I don't see how I'm going to scale this. So around the same time, my father-in-law, his name's Joel. He's one of our co-founders. He's the power director at Lehigh City. And he's been in the utility industry for like 20 years. So he's really familiar with how cities work and especially how power departments work. And when he first became the power director at Lehigh about 11 years ago, he constantly ran into challenges with how do I communicate with my customer base? How do I communicate with my residents in the city? And Lehigh is like one of the fastest growing cities, like regionally. They've grown a ton. And so Lehigh is constantly adding new customers, and with the amount of customers that they're adding and homes that are being built, like the power grid is taking a big hit because of the growth. But he walked in one day to work and his secretary was like, "Hey, I heard we're having a big outage. Like, do you know what's going on?" And he had no clue that there was an outage taking place. So he's like this new power director at Lehigh. He should know that there's an outage. He had no clue. So he's like, I've got to communicate with my residents better. So then he started piecing together different pieces of software that existed. Like an outage management software helps power departments determine where an outage is taking place. And then he found a texting platform that allowed the city to text residents. And then he found a phone platform that allowed the city to take inbound calls. So he has 3 pieces of software that he's trying to mold together and put together. And for one, the city spent a ton of money doing it, and a lot of money doing it. And the problem with these softwares is they're really great, but they're really hard to implement, and they look like they're built in the 80s. And so he's like, I've got to find a better way to do this. So that's where that kind of started. So around the same time...
Did he ever get the system to work?
Yeah, he did.
Like it's functional?
It took 3 years, and the city of Lehigh spent over $300,000
Holy cow.
making all of this work together.
And how many softwares would you say in total were used to make this?
So I mentioned 3, but they added a 4th. So he's using 4 softwares in Lehigh.
Wow.
Yeah. To take inbound texts from residents, to take phone calls, to figure out where an outage is taking place, to put an outage map on the website so people can see what's happening. Like, yeah, four pieces of software he ended up cobbling together to make it all work.
That sounds like a disaster.
Yeah, in 3 years. I mean, he's probably one of the smartest people I know, but it took him 3 years to do it.
Okay, so he found this pain, right? He
Yeah.
found that this is a major struggle. It's
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
What did he do after that?
So around the same time, I have my detailing company, and we're just kind of fizzling out because the fall's over, we're heading into winter, and our other co-founder Ryan had just graduated from BYU with his master's in information systems. So Joel called us over one day, and he's like, "Hey, I have a business idea, like just a thought. Like, will you guys come?"
And Joel's your uncle, right?
Joel's my father-in-law.
Oh, your father-in-law.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he's
I was thinking it was your entrepreneurial uncle, but no.
No, sorry.
your
So Joel
father-in-law.
is my wife's dad.
Gotcha.
I don't think he knew I had a detailing company, but I don't think he really knew I wanted to have a business. We never talked about it.
Yeah.
And he's tried multiple ideas too, but I think where I had a business, I kind of wanted to be an entrepreneur. He just invited me over. He's like, I have this idea. And Ryan had just finished his master's degree in IS. And so he invited us over, and he like pulled up his laptop, because these softwares, they're still server based. You have to download it on a laptop.
Oh gosh.
It's not cloud. Like,
Yeah.
we're in 2025, So he pulls out his laptop and is trying to log in, and it takes like 15 minutes to log in. 'Cause
Just
it's
to log in.
It's not loading. So
Oh
he's like, let me
gosh.
show you this software, and he pulls it up, and he can't even log in. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, we can't even get into this system. This is crazy. So I kind of went to the meeting out of obligation because it was my father-in-law. But then, we're 20 minutes into just talking, and he can't even show us the software because it's not working. And we finally get in, and I'm like, what is this? This looks terrible. Like, this was built forever ago is what it looks like, and it's really hard to use. It's clunky. So we had that meeting, and we're like, maybe we have an idea here. And we ended up talking to a small city, Morgan. I just told you about Morgan. We ended up getting a meeting with them. We basically approached it like, hey, we have this idea. Hear us out. And so we go up there, and we're talking to Morgan about, the challenges that they have communicating with their residents. And we're like, hey, we have this idea. What do you think? And at the end of the meeting, they were like, yeah, can we pay you guys to build it? And we were like, what?
That's awesome.
They
were willing to fund your project?
Yeah, that's literally what
Wow.
happened. They're like, we'll be partners with you. Like, can we pay you
Wow.
to build this? And we had no inclinations of anything like that. It was just like, we were kind of just validating if it was a problem or not.
That's quite a validation.
Yeah. So we left that first meeting, and they were like, yeah, we'll pay you. And we were like, you've got to be kidding me. So then, the rest is, we're, still growing and stuff, but that's how it started. And, they became our first beta partner, and they basically paid us to build a project, which helped fund it. And we got some help from BYU because Ryan got it approved to do it for his Oh my gosh, what's that big project they have to do before they
I
graduate?
don't remember what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Is it like
they have to do this big project in the IS system. It's like their last little test. And so he got it approved from the professor that we could use our business as the project. So he had a team.
double dipping everywhere.
Yeah, it was awesome. No, it was great because then we'd have to hire a bunch of developers. And they were great help. They were awesome. So we had a team at BYU that helped us develop it, which was awesome because they got to use it. Capstone. They got to use it for their capstone. And project. We were kind of growing a business and fixing things for Morgan along the way. So that's how that all started.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did you guys actually start building the product?
It would have been October of, let's see, it's 2020. So October of 2023. So
okay, so it's been about 2 years since you launched.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so since then, do you have a working product now?
Yeah, the product's working. In fact, we just went live with another city today.
No way.
And we made a mistake. What happens is like when we go live with a city, we basically send a text to everyone in the city that has a phone number. And we're like, hey, welcome to X city's new communication platform. Text this number if you have questions or call the city office. So we send this text, 11,000 texts we sent today.
No.
And we put the wrong phone number in the text. And then there was an error in the code and it sent the text twice. So 11,000 people got 2 texts from us. They should have only gotten 1. 2 texts from us and it had the wrong phone number in it. And we're like, oh my.
And the wrong phone, you mean like the wrong phone number for the power company?
Yeah, we basically said call the city office if you have questions about this, and we put the wrong phone number. And like, so this guy named, I can't remember his last, Johnny something, is getting like these calls because we put his phone number in.
How many calls
text.
do you think he would have gotten?
I hope not a lot, maybe 100 or so.
Okay,
but still, it's like
that's still insane.
It's like still really annoying.
Did he? What did he do?
So then he called the city and he was like, "I'm getting these calls. What's going on?" So then I texted him like, "I am so sorry. Like we made a mistake." I'm like, holy cow. So that literally happened today.
Oh, that was today.
So that's what I've been fixing today.
Oh gosh, that sounds
doing
like
PR with the city, like trying to fix, like, so we had to send out a third text and we're like, correction, like this is the right phone number to call. Holy cow, we both felt like idiots. We're like, how did we miss the phone number? How did we do that?
That's so funny.
So
was it just like one number off? Or was it like
literally one number? So the number is 465. We put 456. So people are calling this 456 5200 number. One number off. We just flopped it. That's what I'm doing today, is just trying to fix that. And
so the 2 cities then you service, is it Morgan, and then what's the other city?
So Morgan is a client. Morgan was our first client. Then Murray City was our second client, and then Payson, and then Heber. And just last week we signed a small electrical service district. The name of the company is SESD. So they service like Elk Ridge. They service some of Benjamin. They service some of Salem. So they service kind of a lot of those smaller cities down south. So those are the people we work with right now.
Okay, so you're B2B software, right?
Yes, I mean, it's the same idea. It's more like B2G because we're selling the software to the cities. The cities use the software. The residents in the city don't use the software. They just get a text on their phone. So all the residents know is they're getting a text from Payson City. They don't do anything. It's the city that's using the software to send the texts and map out like where the incidents are taking place, like which street needs plowed or where this power outage is taking place, what block it's on. So I guess technically it's B2G, but I think B2G is really similar to B2B.
Yeah.
So
the power companies, tell me more about, I don't know much about this industry. Mm-hmm. Are they privately owned companies or do they belong to the city?
Most of them, well, not most. A lot of them belong to the city. So we're going after publicly owned power companies. Cities that own their own power distribution. So like Provo, like they have a power department, they own their power, they distribute the power to the residents. Payson is another example. Morgan is another example. A lot of cities in Utah are serviced by Rocky Mountain Power. I don't know if you've heard of Rocky Mountain Power. They're a massive company and they service a lot of cities. So if a city's using like Rocky Mountain Power, we wouldn't be able to help them because Rocky Mountain Power already services them. So we're going after cities that own their own power and distribute it to their residents. There's about 2,000 to 3,000 in the United States that own their own power.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So what's your strategy to reach that 2,000?
Gosh, yeah, we're still figuring that out. Yeah, that's the hard part. B2G is hard just because, like, I've done B2B sales for 4 years now. Like, you do some research on the company, you call them, try to get to the right person. This is a little bit different because it's hard cold calling governments. There's a lot of gatekeepers and they're just not as trusting. Like cities and governments are like, relationship building is huge and case studies are huge and they all kind of know each other. So like if a city manager in Provo talks to the city manager in Springville, like they collaborate a lot of things. Like cities help each other out. They're super collaborative on those kind of things. So I think it's going to be more like networking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you tried a referral system?
Yeah,
your current clients.
we're working on that right now. In fact, our fourth and fifth clients came from referral from one of our
nice.
first 3 cities. So
Yeah.
like that's good, and I think we're gonna go to a convention in November, which will be big. I'm trying to work on a strategy on. We want to get into Colorado, and I'm trying to think of like a strategy. Like I might like pick the 15 cities that we want to work with in Colorado and like send them a gift. Like we talked with the bee partners, like we might send them some honey,
that's a
just
good
like this
idea, yeah.
random gift, like in a handwritten note, and then call them in 2 weeks and just see. So it'll be a lot of stuff like that.
That's
Like,
funny. We just did an interview with them.
Oh, did you?
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure, like, was it 2 weeks ago?
yeah, those
or-
guys, they have
I
a
don't
cool
know, it was
idea.
very
Their idea is
recently.
really cool.
Yeah.
So like, what's a unique Utah gift we could send people? We're like, the bee partner, that might be. So
That's
I don't
cool.
know. I think it's gonna be a lot of warm introductions and referrals is gonna be how it's really. I mean, that's what we've at least seen so far is how it's gonna start to grow. So
I think you bring up a really cool point here. At iHub, we have a lot of really cool cross collaborations.
yeah, we do. Yeah.
What else has iHub done to help grow your business? What role has it played?
Well, for one, Andrea. I don't know if you've met Andrea. She does a lot
I
of
haven't,
legal.
but I've seen a lot of emails from her.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's reviewed all of our contracts for us, like with different cities. She reviewed contracts with.
So for our audience, who's Andrea? What does she
So
do?
Andrea is actually just a volunteer at iHub. So Andrea doesn't make any money, completely volunteer work. And from my understanding, she works every day, half a day in the morning. From what my understanding is, and like I said, she doesn't get paid for it. She just does it out of her, because she has a good heart. And she helps with like the legal things at iHub. So she's like reviewed our contracts to make sure we're safe. She's helped us with trademarking and just other things like that.
That's awesome.
Because that stuff's really expensive.
Yeah.
And she's helped us.
And it's really important. Like,
yeah, I mean, most
you get in big
attorneys.
trouble.
Yeah, right. I mean, we'd probably have to pay this big retainer for an attorney. We haven't had to do that yet, which is just a huge. Yeah, super grateful for that. So.
That's awesome. Any other ways they've helped of note?
Yeah. I really like the networking events just because it's cool to hear people's story, and it's cool to see if you just persevere, it'll work out in the long run. Like it's not fast, but it'll work out. So I've loved the networking events just to hear people's stories. That always really motivates me. I like having space here. I'm not big on working from home. I could do it, but I would just be distracted, I think. So it's been nice having a space to come and just like it's my office and I can work here and focus on working and not be distracted by things at home. So those two are probably my favorite thing. Having the office and the networking events have been really cool.
Do any of your co-founders come here as well?
Yeah. We meet here multiple times a week. Ryan, as of late, has been here more than I have just throughout the day because I've been out visiting people. But Ryan works here almost every day, if not at least every other day. And I'm here, if not every day, every other day too. So
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So out of all of your experience so far, what's been like the biggest lesson that you've learned?
with iHub or with the business?
Just your business. Yeah, let's go back to your business.
Man, I don't know. There's a lot of ups and downs already. Like even just being the startup and just getting going. Like, just today, like we had this city we really wanted to work with. We thought we're gonna help, and they just told us no, basically. And that was today too. So we were dealing with this.
Dang. Big
we
day.
messed up this text. Like 11,000 people get this text that's incorrect, and it's like you got to be kidding me. And then I hear from this city that's like no, and that's hard, right? I mean, and we're just trying to get off the ground and grow. And I actually just quit my full-time job a couple weeks ago. So like I'm just really starting to do this.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Nice.
no, it was a big step. I'm nervous, but it's exciting. But I think the biggest lesson is just persevere, push through it. Like if you believe it'll work out, if you believe it will help people, then that'll keep pushing you forward. But I don't think anyone has lied and said it's easy, because it's not. And not every day is roses. The honeymoon stage lasts for a couple of days, and then once it goes away, you got to just have a good reason why you're doing it.
So what is your reason? I know you originally said you didn't want to be an entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
you kind of picked it up with your detailing business.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you still here?
This is probably a weird reason, but I like the idea of proving that I can do something hard. I know it's weird, but I kind of like the chase of like doing something hard and like, having some stress. Like I feel like I perform better when I've got some stress behind me. And I've noticed at previous sales jobs I've had, like I get to the point where I figure it out and I get comfortable and I kind of lose my, I don't know, like my motivation. Yeah, I lose the momentum. I just kind of plateau and I hate that feeling. So I like the idea of pushing myself and doing something hard. And I feel like if I can, if I can do something really hard, it'll help me become who I want to become. I want to be a better husband. I want to be able to lead people. I want to be good with finances. Like I want to be able to be tenacious and say I did something really cool. And I think that, if you want to be someone like that, entrepreneurship is a great way because it's going to kind of force you to learn those things along the way, or else, so you just have to learn as you go.
I think that's one of the things that really appeals to me about entrepreneurship is it's such a learning game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I find it so inspiring how many founders had no idea what they were doing, or even had any experience in what they currently do. And it's just because as entrepreneurs, we figure it out. We make things happen. You have to figure it out.
Yeah, you do.
It sucks.
Yeah,
and you're not going to make it.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I mean, Corbin's like, well, if you're an entrepreneur, you're not going to make money for a while. And that's totally true. Like, if it's about the money, it's probably not a good route. I mean, there's potentially payoff later on, but, if you're getting into it just for the money, it might not be the best reason because you're not going to be making money for a long time. So.
Totally. Well, okay, this is another question I had for you.
Yeah.
You're married,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. How do you balance your business and your relationships?
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard, Yeah, my wife and I have had a lot of those conversations just because it's, lately I feel like I'm working till 8 or 9 every night, and it's hard because it's like I have to, grow the business. Like we have to figure out how to make this work, but at the same time, like, my wife is what's most important to me. So there's some sacrifice, I think, on both ends. My wife and I just started something this year where we're like Thursday nights is date night no matter what. And so we do that. We missed last week because she was sick, but like so far this year we've done date night every Thursday. And like we both know, even if like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday, if I have stuff going on, like Thursday night we're going to be together. And that's been huge. So really like doing date night.
Is it hard to keep to that?
It is, yeah. Just because it's like it's easy to work on the business. You get stuck you get stuck sitting at your computer and doing something and it's 2 hours go by. It's like what just happened. So, but it is hard. It's not easy, but we put a recurring event on our calendar, Thursday night, date night, and that's been really good. We've liked that. The other thing is like I've tried now that football season, I'm terrible during football season, but now that football season's over, it's like Sundays I'm not watching football. I just, with my wife. So Thursday nights, Sundays, like we get a lot of time, which has been really good.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah, I feel like that's another thing I really like about entrepreneurship is like you get sucked in.
Yeah.
Because it's not about if you're doing it because you want to learn, it gets really easy to start doing it because you're really interested and it's motivating, it's fulfilling. Obviously, there are these moments where things go wrong.
Yeah.
It sucks and there's a lot of rough waters, but I enjoy problem solving and so it's just another thing to fix.
Yeah, no, I think that's how entrepreneurs are wired. It's just like I have this problem, how can I fix it? And just go try to make it work. And it feels good to solve a problem. It feels good to find like a need and like, I'm helping this person like fix this. It feels good.
Where do you see Outify going? Like what is the vision of Outify?
Yeah. Our goal is to get to 100 cities. And if you think about it, it's only 2 cities per state, which sometimes seems really daunting, but 2 cities per state doesn't seem crazy. And if we can get to 100 cities, like I feel like we would be in a good position to sell the business. And I know this is really goofy, but I've always wanted to teach seminary. And if I could sell the business and not worry about money and just teach seminary, that would be like my dream. Like that's what I really want to do.
Yeah. Okay, so, and you were telling me about the strategy you guys have.
Yeah.
Remind me, what is it called again?
Yeah, so I'm not an expert on this. I'm not an accountant.
Not legal advice.
But you can look it up. It's called an 83B election. And it's a section in the tax code, so it's totally legal. Look it up, 83-B. And what it allows you to do is you assign yourself the shares of what the business is worth. So I own a certain percentage of Outify, and I'm going to assign the shares to myself of what the value of Outify is, and I'll pay taxes on what my share of the business is worth right now.
Right now.
So whatever the business is worth right now, my share of that, I'm going to pay taxes on what my share is worth. But the cool thing about the 83B election is it's designed so that when you sell the business, you have 10 years after you do the 83B election. You have 10 years to sell the business. And if you do it within 10 years, you don't pay taxes on the increase of what your shares are worth in 10 years. So I'm going to pay taxes on what my shares of the business are worth right now, so that if we sell within 10 years, I don't have to pay taxes on the increase, and it could save you so much money on taxes. So it's really common for software businesses to do that, because it's common for software businesses to sell quick, and founders get hosed on taxes. So
I believe it.
83B election.
When can you start this? Like, can you do it day one when it's worth zero? Or
Yeah,
does it
I
have
mean,
to be...
so you have to get a valuation,
Okay.
a credible valuation. So when you file the 83B election, you actually have to have someone come into the business and say, this is what the business is worth. And there's a lot of people out there that do that now. It's not super expensive. And when you're a brand new startup, face it, your business isn't really worth a lot.
Yeah.
So we paid someone to come in and, like, you know, do some work on our business and determine this is what the business is worth. And then here's what Justin's shares are worth. So then we take that to our accountant. It's this legal document. They sign the 83B election. I pay my taxes on what my shares are worth. So you have to have someone come into the business and actually value it.
That
like
makes
someone
sense.
that's credited to do that.
And are there any extra penalties if you don't sell within 10 years?
There's no penalties.
But you do have to take taxes.
There is no penalties, but you would have to pay taxes on the increase.
Okay.
So the IRS gives you a 10-year time period, basically, from when you sign the paper on the 83B. So you basically have to do it and know that you're selling within 10 years. Like, and if you don't sell, it's either because the business didn't work out, or maybe you're doing good enough, you are going to wait longer and sell for more later. So the strategy is to avoid paying taxes on what your business is worth later on.
That makes sense.
It's shocking that the IRS lets you do that, but they do. So
Does it cost money to file this?
yeah, it does cost money. I mean, you'll just find an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want to do it. I don't think you can do it yourself. I think you have to have an actual accountant do it. So we have an accountant for the business, and he's going to do it. So he'll file the election for us, and then we just paid the company to come in and value what Outify is worth.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. If you have a software business, you should definitely check it out.
Well, Justin, this has been awesome. I have really enjoyed learning about your business.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Do you have any like last advice that you give to people that are thinking about starting businesses, or other people that are a year or two behind you?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest lesson I learned is, for one, you don't have to have a crazy idea. Like texting cities, that sounds so boring. It's like not this revolutionary idea, but you don't have to come up with this crazy, cool, incredible idea to start a business. Like, just find a problem, and even if it is like what I did, detailing, or even, you know, window washing, landscaping, like something super simple to start, go for it, because then you'll learn a lot, even if you only do it for a couple months, and you'll learn how to get some customers and manage money, and I think it'll start to get your wheels turning on, you know, bigger and better things. And then just look for opportunities, you know, look for people who are like you and have good ideas, and be friends with them, and oftentimes ideas come out of that. So
I love it, man. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.